Katie wondered how long she'd been staring out of the kitchen window. Everything had suddenly come back into focus, and she realized she'd been somewhere else. Katie knew she'd been having a lot of these little lapses lately. Yesterday afternoon, for example, she'd been on her way out the back door to take out the trash. The next thing she knew, it was dark. She was in the same place, the screen door half open, her arm tired from holding the trash bag. She remembered how frightened she'd been, and how cold. When she'd seen the clock, her heart almost stopped. It had been 9 o'clock. Katie was sure that these lapses had something to do with Heath's plans for taking over her life. She felt less and less like herself lately. If that meant that Heath was getting stronger, she had to find a way to get free of him while she could still think clearly.
Calm down, Katie. You can get through this thing. You've got to. Let's try to work it out. He gets very angry when things that could prove his existence are brought back from the dream. He destroys them. Okay, what else? Why did he stay away so long after Jason's accident? And where else has he appeared other than in a dream? Well, there was that phone call, and the time he started the fire and burned the letter, and the time he destroyed his voice on the tape recorder. That's it. He doesn't show up in the dream for a long time after any of his appearances in the real world. It must be something to do with the energy he needs to get from me. Each time he touches the real world, he uses up energy. So he must have to wait till he's strong enough before he can come alive again, even in dreams. I think I'm beginning to understand. I'll just have to wait until the right moment. Then I'll try my plan. If I can hang on long enough.
Katie looked down at Jason alone in his room at the hospital, asleep in bed. His expression was calm and peaceful, almost serene.
Jason's so still. He almost looks like he's... Oh, stop being ridiculous, Katie. The nurse told me that his condition isn't critical. He just needs time and rest. Oh, Jason, I'm sorry. I feel like this is all my fault. I should have made you stay away from me. I knew what Heath was capable of. If I can't put a stop to Heath soon, you'll have to stay away from me. Oh, I wish you were awake and could hear me. I've got to go, Jason. But I'll see you soon. You'll see. I'll get rid of Heath. He'll be nothing but a bad dream. When all this is over, he'll be just like it never happened. We'll go out all the time and have lots of fun.
As Katie reached for the door handle, a violent nausea flooded through her body and stopped her dead in her tracks. She pressed her hands to her throat. Her lips seemed to be forcing themselves open.
When all this is over, Jason, we'll ditch her and have some really wild times.
Katie put her hand over her mouth, but she couldn't stop the gush of words. She struggled desperately to regain control.
We'll get together and find some real fun chicks. This one's 𝘆𝗲𝗿𝗀.
Katie felt weak. Thank goodness no one had heard her. Bending over the sink, she rinsed the taste of Heath's voice out of her mouth. Katie had thought that Heath couldn't come up with any terror worse than he already had. How wrong she was. Heath was getting stronger and stronger. The day after Heath's latest appearance, Katie received word that Jason's condition had worsened unexpectedly. He had slipped into a coma. Though Katie tried to reason that it couldn't be Heath's doing, she couldn't be sure. She could feel the pressure of Heath's growing demand for control. His voice started to come out of her mouth more often, and without any warning except a feeling of dizziness and nausea. Katie knew it was only a matter of time before someone else heard the voice. And then it happened. Katie would never forget that day. She and Raquel were in the cafeteria at a secluded table in the corner.
Hey,
I'll pass that mustard over here, huh, and make it snappy. I haven't got all day to sit here and wait.
Wow, that's terrific. Do you do any other voices?
Katie wanted to hug Raquel for not being horrified. She wanted to hold on to every minute with Raquel that day. She knew it would be the last time they'd be together for a long time, maybe forever. Katie couldn't predict what things Heath might say or do. She decided that now was the time to go home, and stay home. She wouldn't go back to school again. From then on, she ignored the ringing of the phone or doorbell. She was afraid of what might happen to her voice, or that Heath would telephone. Televisions and radios had remained disconnected since the time Heath had interrupted Psycho. Katie couldn't even read a book for fear that Heath would leap from the pages. Much of the time, Katie slept. She couldn't help it. But she didn't see Heath in her dreams. She wondered if he were gathering strength for a final challenge.
How much time do I have left? Will I be around to see the spring?
She was staring out of the window in her room when she felt the nausea that always came now when Heath appeared. But this time there was something different. This time there was a roaring in her ears. She was falling into a bottomless pit, and yet she was standing still at the same time. She fought to regain control, but she knew she was losing the battle.
It's no use, Katie. Do I have to explain it to you all over again? Things are gonna be different now. Oh, I feel great. Never better. Pretty soon I can leave this dump out in the sticks for good. You know what I ought to do is drop in on some other dreams. Lots of different dreams. After all, why should a guy like me tie myself to just one girl?
Katie felt herself falling again as the roaring noise got louder. Then she realized she was sitting on the garage floor. It was the first time that she had gone to sleep and actually woken up in a different place. Katie cradled her head in her hands. What had happened just now, in the time between leaving her bedroom and coming to in the garage, was much, much worse than having Heath's words coming out of her mouth. This time, Heath's thoughts had been running in her mind.
This is the beginning of the end.
You're disgusting, Heath. Like a leech.
Katie wanted to be furious. As long as she could get mad, her spirit would keep up the will to fight.